Let's commentaries. I am your host, Sipon Lovu. Sipon Sport favorite Ank on the Black Italian himself. Assalamu alaikum. And today we are doing one of the Americans' origins, Navajo. Navajo. This is 40 days of 40 languages and 40 cultures. So 40 cultures, 40 languages in 40 days. Today we are dealing with the North American. So one of the cultures or the languages we found there is the Navajo or Dine, Navajo. So as I've said, or as I've been saying that we know people by their language. Their language is what represents them. So if their language is what represents them, then their culture derives from their language. So today, Poicanyo, what's good? What's good, Poicanyo? So today we are looking at the tongue or a language called Navajo, which is America's native language, or one of the America's native languages. It's Navajo, it's called Navajo. So we'll check out the origins, the people, where are they right now? What's been happening with them over the years? When were those people discovered? Everything that actually pertained to the people of the Navajo. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. So it's 40 cultures, 40 languages in 40 days. Navajo origins trace back to the other Pakistan-speaking people who migrated from West Canada. There's another problem. There's another problem, because the short I made concerning the Americans was the fact that Americans, nothing's originally America. Nothing was originally from there. Because of English, of Spanish, of Portuguese. Wait a minute, Canada. My bad. Canada is not in Europe. Canada is not America. So Canada, on top of the USA, my bad. Okay. These people actually migrated from West Canada, arriving in Southwest Four Corners region between 1300, but that recent, to 1500 AD. That's recent. It's not ancient. Developing their unique culture, adopting farming, weaving, and shepherding from Pueblo neighbors and Spanish, and establishing their homeland, Dineta, defined by 4 sacred mountains. They are closely related to the Apache, and the language links them to the distant relatives in northern Canada and Alaska, and making them the largest Native American tribe today. Now that's impressive. But if we are going to look at 1300 to 1500 AD, now that's just recent. So this actually makes me wonder if... Okay, let's continue. Now there's something that I'm going to play here that has to do with the Navajo people. Quickly, I think we might find something as far as these people are concerned.
The Navajo Nation, the largest Native American tribe in the United States, embodies a cultural legacy that intertwines tradition, resilience, and a deep connection to the land they call Diné. Situated in the Four Corners region of the American Southwest, their history spans centuries, marked by a rich tapestry of customs, language, and artistry. The Navajo, or Diné, trace their origins to the land's emergence, as passed down in...
Okay, these Navajo or Navajo people or natives looks like Indians, low-key Indians. So I wonder if they are Native Americans or they are Indians migrated first to America. That's what I hate, because I've said that I can't find something that is originally American. Everything seems to be borrowed somewhere on the part of the planet. I wish I can find something originally American that was there, probably before even Christ. We had ships at that time circling the globe. Can we find something that go as far as probably 500 BC? something as ancient as that in America. Can we find something like that? Or only in the Mesopotamic mythology we can find that with Enlil and Enki's brothers or sons actually searching around the earth. Maybe that those are the only people who tell us anything with Americans prior Christian era. But talking about 1300 after Christ or AD to 1500, that's like yesterday. That like this, it's when actually the tribes in the southern hemisphere in Africa, particularly the Ngunis, were actually assembling to actually form the Nguni tribe, which later on gave birth to the Xhosas, the Zulus, the Ndebeles, and the Swatis, and then leaving the northern tribe region, which include the Sotos, the not the Swatis, the Tswanas, and the Chivendas, and so on and so forth. Now, we cannot, okay, let's continue. This is America. Everything is borrowed anyways. But these people look like Indians, but they are said to be the original American natives.
Creation stories. Their language, Diné Bizard, is an integral part of their identity, reflecting a complex linguistic heritage that binds the community together. They refer to themselves as the Diné, meaning the people. The language comprises two geographic, mutually intelligible dialects. The Apache languages are closely related to the Navajo language. The Navajos and Apaches migrated from northwestern Canada and eastern Alaska, where the majority of Athabascan speakers reside. Additionally, some Navajos speak Navajo Sign Language, which is either a dialect or a daughter of Plains Sign Talk. Some also speak Plains Sign Talk itself. Archaeological and historical evidence suggests the Athabascan ancestors of the Navajos and Apaches arrived in the southwest around 1400 AD. The Navajo.
Now that is what I was talking about. This actually truly disturbs me that this history traces back only to 1314 and 1500 AD. It's truly actually doesn't sit well with me. I need something ancient. If there are any Americans here watching right now, is there anything ancient in the Navajo people that I can find that is originally American, not borrowed from somewhere else? Can we find something like that? Please, Americans. When I come back with the second round in America, I will check the Mexicans. But after the Mexican, I need something originally American, Native American, something that dates back at least to 500 BC. As far as that, something, maybe it's not even there. It's America. Anyways, it's full of Europeans and Africans and Hispanic people and Asians, no Native Americans. Because even the Navajo tribe looks Indian. They look Middle Eastern, where they have the resemblance of the Mexicans, or Mexicans have a resemblance of these people. But I'm not trying to make anything out of it, but Mexicans actually resembles this Navajo tribe, or this tribe resembles the Mexicans, but you could see that there's Indian blood involved. But if it dates back to 13, 14, 1500 AD, that's recent, bro. That's recent. And it's something like ancient. Orlando Pirates. Seth, what's good? What's good? To be honest, I'm a Sundowns. Yeah, Sundowns is good, but since you all change the formation to 4-3-3, leaving that Rulani is 4-2-3-1, you ain't been doing so good, bro. But we'll see you on Monday because you're playing Orbit College. We'll see what happens. Argentine the burst. Juliet Preda. Are you from Argentina? Now, if I go to South America, I'll probably go to Argentina because I'm disappointed with the North Americans. I'm very, very disappointed with the North Americans. But I know that even in South America, there's a majority of people who speak Portuguese, but Portuguese is European. I need something originally American. Now, if you say Argentina is the best, Argentina, La Pampa, Patagonia, I presume those are the languages that are spoken in Argentina and which are originally Argentinians, because tomorrow I'm going to South America to check South Americans. So I don't want to find the same disappointment that I'm finding with the North Americans, because with this Navajo or Navajo tribe, somebody actually suggested that I check them out as the Native Americans. But if they date back only to 1300, 1400, 1500 AD, time next yesterday, that's like recent history. And it's something far behind, or at least let's go back to the 7th century AD, somewhere around there. Let's continue.
Tradition is transcribed to retain references to this migration. Artisanry is a cornerstone of
But there's something that they are saying though. This tribe came from the northwestern part of Canada, and probably in Canada I would find something. Maybe on my between the second or the third round of the North Americans, Mexico, and I need to find something from Canada, because if Navajo comes from Canada, then they might have branched out of some tribes in Canada. So I need to find those tribes. Maybe they have something solid. They have something that they can actually give as far as the Native Americans are concerned. Argentine, Mapuches, Tehuelches, original towns. And the languages, bro, tell me about one of the mass spoken language that is Argentinian. Just one or two languages that are widely spoken in Argentina that are originally for the Argentine people. If you can tell me that, I think for the South Americans, for now it's done for this round. Second round, then we'll see how far we go, whether we go to Brazil or other parts of South America. Nicaragua is, where is Nicaragua? I don't know.
culture, notably seen in their renowned weaving traditions. Navajo rugs and textiles display intricate patterns and vibrant colors, often conveying tales from their folklore or symbolizing elements of the daily lives. This artistry has not only been a means of cultural expression but also an economic cornerstone for many Navajo families. Silversmithing is an important art form among Navajos. Atsidi Sani 1830C 1918C is considered to be the first Navajo silversmith. He learned silversmithing from a Mexican man called Nakai Tasi, Thin Mexican, around 1878 and began teaching other Navajos how to work with silver. By 1880, Navajo silversmiths were creating handmade jewelry including bracelets, tobacco flasks, necklaces, and braces. Later, they added silver earrings, buckles, bolos, hair ornaments, pins, and squash blossom necklaces for tribal use, and to sell to tourists as a way to supplement their income. The Navajos' hallmark jewelry piece called the...
Okay, thank you, Julian Preda. Thank you. Now, you are suggesting the Incas. Incas were a powerful pre-Columbian civilization in South America, building a vast Inca empire, Tihuantinsuyu, centered in the Sasco, Peru, known for advanced engineering and sophisticated agriculture, extensive roads system, and a unique knotted string record keeping. But their empire traditionally fell to Spain. Now that is something I'm talking about. Thank you, bro. Thank you for that. That's where I'm going to tomorrow as far as the South America is concerned, because this is originally American. That's what I was looking for, which I couldn't find. I failed. Let me say I couldn't find. I failed to find in North America. Yeah, I will check this for the South Americans. Thank you, bro. Thank you very much.
Squash blossom necklace first appeared in the 1880s. The term squash blossom was apparently attached to the name of the Navajo necklace at an early date, although its bud-shaped beads are thought to derive from Spanish-Mexican pomegranate designs. The Navajo silversmiths also borrowed the naja in Navajo symbol to shape the silver pendant that hangs from the squash blossom necklace. Central to Navajo beliefs are their spiritual practices, deeply rooted in reverence for nature and the spiritual world. The hogan, a traditional dwelling, stands as a symbol of Navajo spirituality and the interconnectedness of all living things. Those who practice the Navajo religion regard the hogan as sacred. The religious song, The Blissing Way, describes the first hogan as being built by Coyote with help from beavers to be a house for first man, first woman, and talking God. The Beaver people gave Coyote logs and instructions on how to build the first hogan. Navajos made their hogans until the 1900s, when they started to make them in hexagonal and octagonal shapes. Hogans continue to be used as dwellings, especially by older Navajos, although they tend to be made with modern construction materials and techniques. Some are maintained specifically for ceremonial purposes. Historically, the Navajo faced challenges during the 19th century, notably with the forced relocation known as the Long Walk in the 1860s. Despite this adversity, the Navajo Nation persevered and rebuilt their communities, preserving their traditions while adapting to modern challenges. Today, the Navajo Nation grapples with contemporary issues such as healthcare disparities, economic development, and the preservation of the cultural heritage in the face of globalization. Efforts within the community and by external supporters aim to address these challenges while respecting the Navajo's autonomy and self-governance. The Navajo people continue to celebrate their culture through ceremonies, festivals, and the passing down of ancestral knowledge to younger generations. Their resilience and commitment to preserving their heritage serve as a testament to their enduring spirit and their invaluable contributions to the cultural mosaic of America. As we acknowledge and appreciate the Navajo tribe's profound cultural legacy, it's crucial to support their efforts in preserving their traditions, promoting economic development, and advocating for their rights, ensuring that the vibrant heritage remains a cherished part of our collective history. The Navajo tribe's cultural depth and history hold numerous intriguing aspects. 1. Matrilineal society. Navajo society traditionally follows a matrilineal system, where descent and inheritance pass through them.
Caleb City FC fan page, that's good, bro. Thanks for actually remind me of that. They not show it in South Africa. They're not showing it. Welcome everybody. This is Nevertheless Commentary. I'm your host Sipon Lovu Sipon Sport. Today we are checking 40 cultures, 40 languages in 40 days. Today we are in North America. We are checking the Navajo people, Navajo tradition, Navajo customs and culture. We know people from their culture and their tradition. So the language serves as a pillar of making sure that all those things are preserved. Maybe later on, after listening to these people and actually read about a few things concerning the Navajos, maybe we'll try and actually speak few words in Navajo. Amarelo, give my guidance to Mazen. Amen. This is pretty cool. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget to smash that sub.
Line. This structure influences family connections and social relationships within the community. 2. Sands of time. Sand painting is a revered Navajo art form used in healing ceremonies. These intricate, temporary artworks are created by carefully pouring colored sands onto the ground, representing spiritual elements. 3. Sacred number 4. The number 4 holds immense significance in Navajo cosmology. It's reflected in various aspects of their culture.
Shout out to Mazen, amen. Shout out to Mazen, amen. He is Omarelo's biggest friend. So shout out to Mazen, amen. We can't wait actually for you, Mazen, to join us here. Shout out to you, bro.
Including the 4 cardinal directions, seasons, sacred mountains, and stages of life. 4. Pocho. This Navajo term encompasses the concept of beauty, balance, and harmony. It's fundamental to their worldview, emphasizing the importance of living in harmony with oneself, others, and nature. 5. Heritage of adaptation. Historically, the Navajo have shown remarkable adaptability. They adopted elements of farming and animal husbandry from neighboring tribes and later integrated sheep and weaving into their livelihoods introduced by the Spanish. 6. Star people belief. Navajo cosmology includes beliefs in the...
Thanks for the sub, everyone. Thanks for the subs. Cardiff City fan page. Yeah, I remember that, bro. You've been with us from last year, bro. Thank you.
People who hold spiritual significance and are considered ancestors or divine beings, representing a connection between the celestial and earthly realms. 7. The emergence story. Central to Navajo belief is the story of their emergence into this world through a series of worlds or planes. This creation narrative shapes their understanding of their origins and their place in the universe. 8. Traditional medicine and healing. Alongside modern healthcare, the Navajo maintain traditional healing practices. Herbal remedies, ceremonies, and medicine men or women play vital roles in their healthcare system. 9. 4 sacred mountains. The Navajo hold 4 mountains: Blanca Peak, Mount Taylor, the San Francisco Peaks, and Mount Hesperus is sacred, representing different directions and elements. 10. Navajo Code Talkers Day. August 14th is recognized as Navajo Code Talkers Day to honor their contributions during the war. 11. Navajo rodeo culture. Rodeos are a significant part of Navajo life, showcasing their horsemanship and celebrating their ranching heritage. These captivating elements of Navajo culture reflect a profound connection to the spiritual, natural, and communal aspects of life, offering a glimpse into the richness and complexity of their heritage.
Okay, I'm not gonna hold you. They look beautiful as hell. These Navajo women, they look beautiful as hell. They look so beautiful. All right, back to the story. Now, we're checking their roots or migration and arrival. They are the Upper Tuscan roots. The Navajo language is part of the larger Athabascan language family, including their distant ancestral origin from the subarctic or subarctic northern America, which is Canada and Alaska, or Alaska. Now, their southward journey, a guardian migration southward over centuries, brought the Athabascan group, including the Navajo, to the American Southwest. Southwest settlement, they settled in the area to present-day New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, establishing a Taineta, the traditional homeland. Now, this video explains Navajo creation and story to their connection to the land.
Settlers and reservations. In the late 1500s, Spanish settlers came to the Southwest. The Navajo stole their sheep. The settlers took Navajo women and children. They sold them as slaves. In 1846, the United States took control of the Southwest. The government forced the Navajo onto a reservation. It was far away. Many Navajo people died. In 1868, the Navajo returned to their homeland. A new reservation was set up there. Being Navajo. Today, most Navajos still live on the reservation. Some live in hogans. Many make blankets and jewelry. They keep their traditions alive. A Navajo story. The Navajo spent winter nights telling stories about the world. One story was about two gods named the...
Okay, now, there's something that comes up in this story, that this tribe basically was destroyed through slave trade. Most of them died, and some of them were sold as slaves. So that's how the Navajo natives were actually obliterated or were reduced in number as far as the Native Americans are concerned. I presume that's the factor to the rest of the North American native tribes that were existing pre-slavery trade or pre-European invasion, if I may put it that way. But it is said that the only thing that we can find from the Navajo people only traces back as far as 1300, but the little history that we find with them was also disrupted by the conquest of the USA and also through slave trade. So these are people, human beings, who were sold as slaves and destroying the culture, the tradition, and even the root of where they come from. Because had they were not disrupted, I think they would have played a major factor in North America in shaping the America to be something else rather than what we see today. But it is said that it's part of the history, and we need to actually make peace with that, because it hurts. It hurts. So many people, so many tribes were destroyed through the slavery thing, slavery system, slave trade system. It really, really hurts. It really, really hurts. Now, seeing that even in America that was the case as far as the natives were concerned, that same thing that happens in Africa. That same thing that happens in Africa. That's why I speak English today, because the English came, the British came here, we fought until they beat us. And now I speak the language. But we will get to that when we actually learn about isiZulu, because isiZulu is my language. When we learn about isiZulu, the Zulu culture, the Zulu people, their resilience against the oppressors and everything that transpired over the years, I think we will learn a lot. We'll go all the way back to the Ngunis, to Abangoni, all the way to the Central Lakes in Africa, because that's where we come from. Central Lakes in Africa. So we're from the Central Africa. Whatever happens in Central Africa today concerns me, because that's where our roots are from as South African, whether you are Zulu, Xhosa, Nguni, Pedi, Tswana, Chivenda, Ndebele. Did I count Swati? All of these black tribes that you find in South Africa, basically, or in Southern Africa, in Southern Hemisphere, they're from that region, the central part of Africa, in the lake, somewhere there. So, but it hurts me to find out that even in America, the Native Americans were disrupted by the slave trade so much that they have little to show as far as the history of their origin and also beliefs, customs, and everything that has to do with them, because they are now sidelined. They are what you can call the insignificant people, if you look at the Americans. Because if you look at America today, we look at, from me speaking from outside the country, let me specifically speak about the USA. If I think about USA, I think I look at USA in the lens of the black Americans, number one. Number two, in the lens of Hollywood. That's how I look at America. The third lens will be their governance. So whatever Trump does, that's how I look at the Americans, especially United States of America. Now, seeing that they played a major part in actually making sure that these Navajo people were obliterated and were sold as slaves, it really, really hurts. It really, really hurts, because I don't think there are people who deserve to actually go through that, who actually deserve to went through that. Leave the fact that Trump is doing the same thing with that other country where they abducted the president, but it hurts to see actually someone how slave actually impacted the world. Bonke wamakwaza unjani makwaza mfowethu, amabhakani iyajabulile. I-league iyaqala next week, so we can't wait to see. This is 40 cultures, 40 languages in 40 days. Today we're in North America. We're looking at a tribe called Navajo or Navajo people, and I'm hoping that by the end of this I will actually learn few things on how to greet in Navajo, few words basically on how to speak in Navajo. Now let's look at the Pueblo influence. Upon arrival in Navajo, the Navajo learned farming, corn farming, beans farming, and squash, and adopted religious and artistic practices from the established Pueblo people. Trade and raiding with the Spanish introduced essential livestock, sheep and goats, fundamentally changing the Navajo diet and economic, leading into wool weaving. This blend of hunting, gathering, farming, and pastoralism created a distinct and a successful lifestyle for the Navajo in the Colorado Plateau. Now, if we look at the identity and the homeland, the name Navajo comes from a Tewa Pueblo word meant large area of cultivated land, adopted by the Spanish. Navajo comes from a Tewa Pueblo word meaning large area of cultivated land. They call themselves Dine, meaning the people, or Dine, meaning the people. Their homeland is divided by 4 sacred mountains, a core part of their spiritual and emergent stories. So probably they have a video here that actually explains the Navajo people's creation story to their connection to the land. Now let's check it out.
Settlers and reservations. In the late 1500s, Spanish settlers came to the Southwest. The Navajo stole their sheep. The settlers took Navajo women and children.
My name is Sipho Ndlovu, Sipho and Spot, Sipho Ndlovu, Sipho and Spot. I'm your back Italian, bro.
1840s.
But my name is Sipho. As you see the handle at Sipho and Spot, that N is for my second name, which is my surname, which is Ndlovu. Most of you all can't pronounce that because it's a Zulu surname. So N is enough or is sufficient for everybody to actually easily get the hang of the word. So it's Sipho and Spot. Everybody can read that. So I hope, Bazix, you actually answered on that. My name is Nataya. What's good, Nataya? Where you from? Tell us where you're from, bro. We might actually check out your language and your culture as well. Today we are doing the Navajo tribe or the Navajo language from North America.
The United States took control of the Southwest. The government forced the Navajo onto a reservation.
Now that's the problem, because it says in 1846 the United States took control of the Southwest, where the Navajo has settled from Canada. Now the government forced the Navajo into the reservation. It was far away, those reservations. Many Navajo people died in 1868 because of the United States, because the government forced them into reservations. Many of them died. The Navajo returned to their homeland. A new reservation was set up there.
It was far away. Many Navajo people died. In 1868, the Navajo returned to their homeland. A new reservation was set up there. Being Navajo. Today, most Navajos still live on the reservation. Some live in hogans. Many make blankets and jewelry. They keep their traditions alive. A Navajo story. The Navajo spent winter nights telling stories about the world. One story was about 2 gods named the Hero Twins. They wanted to save their people from monsters. They asked their father, the sun, to help. The sun gave them lightning.
Thanks for the love.
The Hero Twins used the lightning. They struck the monsters. The monsters turned into huge stones. The stones still stand over Navajo lands today. Glossary. Ceremonies. Special acts carried out according to set rules. Gods. beings that people believe have special powers and control the world. Reservation, an area of land set aside for American Indians. Settlers, people who come to live in a new area. Traditions, beliefs, stories, or ways of doing things that are passed down from parents to their children. That was First Peoples, Navajo, by Valerie Bodden. And this is EDU Kids Space.
Thank you, Valerie Pan, for that interesting story about the Navajo people. But to continue, in essence, the Navajo are southern Athabascan people who migrated to Southwest, integrating aspects from neighboring culture to forge their unique identity and a powerful nation as seen in their history and resilience. So it's kind of impressive, but the fact that they were disrupted by the slave trade and also by the United States of America government, it's really actually kind of messed up, in my opinion. But that's actually part of the history. We are here today because of the historical events that happened. But in a sense, I think when we speak about the United States of America, it owes the people of Navajo and other Native American people, not only them, and also black people who actually helped build America as we know it today. So that's my 2 cents to the story. But we have to continue looking at the spiritual origins and the emergence, because I think the Navajo people believe that they are a unique tribe that emerged on a spiritual happenings somehow. So we actually need to check that out as well. So the Navajo, who refer themselves to the Dine or the people, have origins described through two distinct perspectives or oral tradition, spiritually, and anthropological research, historical. So that's two, it's historical and also spiritual. Now, spiritual side of this origin. According to the Navajo cosmology, the Dine originated through a process of emergence from three previous worlds into the current one, the fourth world, the glittering world, according to them. Now, the people traveled upwards from the dark world through blue and yellow worlds, escaping conflicts or the floods in each. Now, if they speak about the floods, I'm thinking about the floods, the Noah's floods. So I wonder, according to them, which one is Noah's flood between their yellow and a blue world, escaping to the glittering world, which is what they say we are living in right now. So according to them, we are living in a glittering world. So there's a lot of glitz and glamour. Maybe they are correct with that, but as far as the green and the blue worlds, including the floods on both those worlds, I wonder what's up with that. But the latter floods we know is the floods, Noah's floods, with the Noah's Ark. Probably that's the latter of their worlds. I don't know whether it's blue or yellow, but they're coming from the dark blue, yellow to the glitter. I assume that yellow world is what the latter floods, or according to the Bible, the floods we know according to the Bible, to the Navajo people, that's the yellow world. Now, the four sacred mountain upon emerging, the holy people established boundaries for the Navajo homeland. Dineta using four sacred mountain. East is the Blanca Peak, which is usually is said to be Cisnagini, Colorado. That's in Colorado. The second one is Mount Taylor, Tzotzil, which is New Mexico. Now the third mountain on the west is San Francisco Peak. Duke or Slit, that's Arizona. The north is Hesperus Mountain, Dibe Nitza, Colorado. Now there's two mountains from Colorado, which is the east and the north. The other from the east is called Cisnagini, the other in the north called Dibe Nitza, They are both from Colorado, but south and west, that's New Mexico, Mount Taylor, Tsuotzil, and the one in west, San Francisco Peak in Arizona, which is called Duke or Slit. Now, those are the 4 peaks, or the holy people established boundaries within those 4 peaks. So, the central to their origin is changing woman. Central to their origin is changing woman. As Za Netlehe, a deity who created the first 4 Navajo clans for her own body. He created 4 clans for her own body. So that means he actually interchanged her existence within these 4 bodies. That's what they believe. So this actually changing woman created 4 Navajo clans from her own body. Linguistic and archaeological evidence suggests Navajo as a part of the Athabascan people, Nadini language group, sharing ancestry with indigenous people of the northwestern Canada and Alaska. Small hunting and gathering bands dating south along the Rocky Mountain roughly 1,000 years ago. They are believed to have reached the Four Corners region between 13 to 1500 AD. Upon arrival, they interacted extensively with the Pueblo people. From them, Navajo adopted agricultural techniques, growing corn, beans, and squash, and weaving. The Navajo and Apache shared the same ancestral roots, eventually diverging into a distinct tribal identity between 13 to 1525 AD. Now, the etymology of Navajo. The term Navajo is an exonym derived from the word or from the term Tewa Pueblo, which is Navajo, means large area of cultivated land. Navajo. Spanish missionaries in 1620s first recorded them as the Apache de Navajo to distinguish them from their Apache groups who were less dependent on farming. Now, these Spanish missionaries actually are about to have a great influence in it, because it looks like, in my opinion, they're the ones who actually captured this history that we are learning today about the Navajo people, since they named them Navajo, which means, no, not just Navajo. They named them, or they called them as Apaches de Navajo, to distinguish them from the people who were usually, or who were really solely dependent on farming. Now, Spanish people have a lot of influence in this. Again, Europeans. One of the things that I've said, that when you look at America, there's Spanish, there's English, there's Portuguese, which are Europeans. But you can see that on the disruption of these Native Americans, Europeans has a major role in that. It's better in Africa because we still have remnants of the people of Africa who speaks their own language, original languages, but most of them really don't know their origins. They don't know where they come from. But let's continue. The Navajo, as an indigenous people of the southwestern United States, their language Navajo or Diné Bizard. The states with the largest Diné people or Diné population are Arizona with 140,263 and New Mexico with 108,305. More than quarter of the Diné population resides in these 2 states. The overwhelming majority of Diné are enrolled in the Navajo Nation. Some Diné are enrolled in the Colorado River Indian tribes, another federally recognized tribe. With more than 399,492 enrolled tribal citizens as of 2021, the Navajo Nation is the second largest federally recognized tribe in the United States. The Navajo Nation has the largest reservation in the country. The reservation straddles the Four Corners region and covers more than 27,325 square miles. which can be translated to 70,770 square kilometers of land in the Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico. The Navajo reservation is slightly larger than the United States of West Virginia. Not bad, but if you look at the disruption that happens during the slave trade, that's nothing, bro. That's nothing. That's nothing. So Americans really owe these people a huge apology. As far as I'm concerned, they should apologize to the Navajo by disrupting them. The Navajo are speakers of the Nadine Southern Athabascan language, which they call Dine Bizard, people's language. The term Navajo comes from the Spanish missionary and historians who referred to the Pueblo Indians through this term, although they referred to themselves as Dine, meaning the people. The language comprises two geographic mutual intelligible dialects. It is closely related to the language of the Apache. The Navajo and Apache are believed to have migrated from the northwest Canada and eastern Alaska, where the majority of the Athabascan speakers reside. Now I need to really check these Athabascan people, because they seem like the more originally North American indigenous tribe. Now we need to check the Athabascan. Additionally, some Navajo, known as Navajo Sign Language, which is either dialect or daughter of the Plains Sign Talk. Some also known Plains Sign Talk itself. Now, the southern Athabascan people, including Navajo, are thought to have descended from the southward migration of the Athabascan people in subarctic North America around 1,000 years ago. It has been suggested that Navajo and the Apaches may have migrated due to the effects of a volcanic explosion in the St. Elias Mountains of Alaska around 808 AD. Now that's more like it, because I wanted something that goes as far as that. Now the Athabascan people actually, I think, have that kind of a history. Now if the Apaches and also the Navajos migrated due to the volcanic explosion in 1808 AD, now that makes sense, but it took them at least 700 years to settle in Western America. That's quite a journey. Now, part of the migration was along with the Rocky Mountain before arriving into the present-day southwest United States. Initially, the Navajo are largely hunters and gatherers. Later, they adopted farming from Pueblo people. Who are Pueblo people? When we speak about Pueblo people, the Pueblo people are Puebloans, are Native Americans. That's more like it. Native Americans in the southwest United States who shared common agricultural material and religious practices among the current inhabitants. Pueblo, Taos, San Ildefonso, Acoma, Zuni, and Hopi are some of the most common known tribes. Growing mainly the traditional Native American Three Sisters, corn, beans, and squash, they adopted the herding sheep, goats from the Spaniards as the main source of their trade and food. Meat became essential in the Navajo diet. Sheep became a form of the currency and the familial status. Women began to spin and weave wool into blankets and clothing. They created attempts of highly valued artistic expression, which were also traded and sold. That's more like it. Now, these Navajo now has introduced me to even more and more Native Americans. And if you speak about the Pueblos, those are some of the Native Americans. Now, that actually sends me into writing into my notes that I need to check the Pueblos, the Taos, the San Ildefonso, the Acoma, the Zuni, and the Hopi people. Those are some of the people that I need to check out as far as the North American is concerned when it comes to the indigenous languages and indigenous people and culture. So it's the Taos, San Ildefonso, Acoma, Zuni, and Hopi, 5 tribes made up the Pueblos. Now you add to them two other indigenous people, which is Navajo and also the Apache. So that make 7 indigenous tribals united front in America, which are known as the Pueblos. Now these people are planting, live off of agriculture, and when the Spanish came, they introduced sheep, goats, and cattle. Then they began to trade with them and began to weave and make some beautiful clothing and also blankets, and also trade. It was of a high value until the slavery came. Until they start to kill them, sell them into slavery, and messed up the entire culture of the Pueblo people. So right now we have lesser Apache, lesser Navajo, lesser Taos, lesser San Ildefonso, lesser Acoma, lesser Zuni, lesser Hopi. These are the indigenous tribes in North America because of slave and the invasion of the Spanish people. Now, Native American Three Sisters, corn, beans, and squash, they adopted herding sheep, goats from the Spaniards or from the Spanish people as the main source of trade and food. Meat became the essential in Navajo diet. Sheep became the form of currency and familial status. Women began to spin and weave wool into blankets and clothing. They created items that were highly valued artistic expression, which were traded and sold. Oral history indicates a long relationship with Pueblo people and a willingness to incorporate Puebloan ideas and linguistic variances. There were long-established trading practices between the groups mid-1600th century. Spanish records recount that the Pueblo exchanged maize and the woven cotton goods for bison meat. Wait, bisons were not originally Americans? Oh, the Spaniards came with the maize, cotton, and they exchanged all that for bison. Now, that scale doesn't balance. At least it's bison meat, not an entire bison. So it's exchange of maize and cotton for bison meat. At least that could be balanced. But if it was a bison exchange of maize and cotton, that wasn't balancing. But in 18th century, the Spaniards reported that the Navajo maintained a large herds of livestock and cultivated large crops areas. Western historians believe that the Spanish before 1600 referred to the Navajos as the Apaches or Quenchos. Fray Geronimo de Zarate Salmeron, who was the Jimenez in 1622, used Apache de Navajo or Navajo in the 1620s to refer to the people of the Chama Valley region east of the San Juan River in the northwest and the present-day Santa Fe or New Mexico. Navajo comes from the Tewa language, meaning large area of cultivated land. By 1640s, the Spanish began using the term Navajo to refer to the Dine. Now, during 1670s, the Spanish wrote that the Dine lived in a region known as Dineta, about 60 miles, 97 kilometers west of the Rio Chama Valley region. In 1770s, the Spanish sent military expedition against the Navajo in the Mount Taylor and Chusca Mountain region of New Mexico. The Spanish, Navajo, and Hopi continued to trade with each other and formed a loose alliance to fight Apache and Comanche. Now there's some snake stuff right there. There's some snake stuff. Now you betray your own people just to form alliance with the Spanish in your own homeland. The Spanish military sent military expedition against the Navajo in the Mount Taylor and the Chusca Mountain region of New Mexico. The Spanish, Navajo, and Hopi continued to trade with each other and formed a loose alliance to fight Apache and Comanche bands for the next 20 years. During this time, they were relatively minor raids by Navajo brands and Spanish citizens against each other. In 1800, the governor Chacon led 500 men to the Tunisia Mountains against the Navajo. 20 Navajo chiefs asked for peace in 1804 and 1805. Navajo and Spanish mounted major expeditions against each other's settlements. In May 1805, another peace was established. Similar patterns of peacemaking, raiding, and trading amongst the Navajo Spaniards, Apache, Comanche, and Hopi continued until the arrival of the Americans in 1846. Now, if they say until the arrival of the Americans, what they mean? Who are the Americans? Who are the Americans until the arrival of the Americans? Americans, is that a family of some sort? Because I see that the Spanish or the Spaniards are already there with these expeditions with the Native Americans, but who are the Americans? If they say until the Americans come, or the arrival of the Americans. Corel J. Lee's 1976, Through White Man's Eye, a contribution of Navajo history book. I need to get that book. Window Rock, Navajo Times Public, okay, blah, 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 blah. That's not important. Now, territory of New Mexico, 1846 to 1863. That's about almost 17 years. The Navajo encountered a United States Army in 1846 when General Stephen W. Kennedy invaded Santa Fe with 600 men during the Mexican-American War on November 21, 1846. Following an invasion from a small party of the American soldiers under a command of Captain John Reed, who journeyed deep into the Navajo country and contacted him, Narbona and other Navajos on Navajo negotiated a treaty peace with Colonel Alexander Donovan at Bear Springs, Ojo de Loso, later the site of Fort Wingate. This agreement was not honored by the Navajo nor by some of the New Mexicans. The Navajo raided New Mexican livestock, and New Mexican took women, children, and livestock from the Navajo. In 1849, the military governor of New Mexico, Colonel John McRae Washington, accompanied by John S. Cullen, an Indian agent, led 400 soldiers into the Navajo country, penetrated Canyon de Chelly. He signed a treaty with two Navajo leaders, Maranio Martinez as head of chief and Chabidon as the second chief. The treaty acknowledged the transfer of jurisdiction from the United Mexican States to the United States. The treaty allowed the fort and trading ports to be built on Navajo land. In exchange of the United States promised such donations such as liberal and human measures as it may deem meet and proper. While en route to sign this treaty, the prominent Navajo peace leader Narbona was killed, causing hostility between the three parties. Comanche. What's good? Okay, there's a lot that doesn't make sense here, because I have the United States, which includes the Pueblo or the Pueblians, which are the 7 native tribes in America, but there's also the Mexicans. Now, I need to actually study the history of the North America, because looking at this right here, it cannot make sense until actually I understand the history of the Americans, maybe politics at large. Because looking at just the Navajo alone, there are a lot of things that doesn't make sense or that doesn't add up when I'm looking at this. But if I can actually study the history of the North Americans, how it came about to what it is today, it would make sense to actually learn about the Navajo people and everything that they went through over the years, which led them being reduced in number and remain the minority in their homeland. So I think it's very, very important that I check out the history of America. Maybe that's the first thing I want to do before I actually look at any tribe anywhere outside Africa and Europe. Or let me just focus that in America, because it's the only place where there's a lot of problems. Now, we've been into this Navajo for an hour. Now, how do we speak Navajo? How to greet in Navajo? How to greet in Navajo? Yate, 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 yate. That's welcome, that's welcome, that's hello. It's good. Good morning, yate apini, yate apini. That is good morning. Those are common greeting and common phrases. Now, good evening, yate alni ini. Morning, yate apini. Evening, yate alnini. Good night, yate hichi. Yate hichi. That's good night. How are you, or what's up? Ahiba nanina. Ahiba nanina. How are you? Ahiba nanina. I'm fine, thank you. That is Anisit. Anisit. I'm fine, thank you. Anisit. That sounds like Chinese. Somehow. What's your name? Hashinelia. Hashinelia. My name is Shi Yinishe. Shi Yinishe. Shi Yinishe Sipondlovu. Now, if we look at some cultural note, Yati carries a deeper meaning in both of balance also, and is used broadly of a well-being, not just a simple hello. Not Navajo, where are the day? Yatiye, yatiye. Saying goodbye instead of a direct goodbye. Speakers often use hagoshi or yatihe, yatihe in repeat. Yatihe, yatihe, goodbye, or hagoshi. But also if you create to say yatihe, implying until later. Be well. Navajo word of the day, asking how are you? How are you? Haito nanina, haito yanina, haito yanina. Now let's hold it right here for the Navajo people. But it said in me to find out that Navajo people were actually reduced in number and prosperity due to slave trade and everything that went on in North America. But this is 40 days, 40 cultures. This is 40 cultures, 40 languages in 40 days. Today we was looking at the Navajo tribe or Navajo people, the Pueblos and their origin, but they originated in 13 to 1500 AD, so which is recent history. But through that we find out that they derive from West Canada and East Alaska. So we need to actually find the Apatascan people from that area to actually find out about Northern American native people. So it wasn't much. I may say that it wasn't much because it dates back only to 13 to 15 AD. But from that we've learned a lot of things about people who predecessors these people. So thank you everybody for tuning in. My name is Sipon Lovo Sipon Sport, your favorite anchor on the net, to Black Italian himself. I would say a pronto piacere, a pronto piacere. I will see you on the next one. Peace. Seren, so what's good, Seren? What's good? Before I go, what's good? Then tomorrow we are going to South America to check out some of the tribes, the native tribes in South America. That is 40 languages, 40 cultures in 40 days. Thank you. My name is Bondovu, your favorite anchor on the net, the Black Italian himself. From me to you, I'm saying a pronto piacere. Good night. Have a nice one. Thank you.